What's good? It's Seek the Truth, TikTok deep dives. So, in recent events, there's been a rumor circulating the internet that mermaids are being hunted by the elites to be eaten. So, in today's TikTok deep dives, you know how we do. We're going to do a thorough deep dive on mermaids. So, we're going to start with the history of mermaids in different civilizations and different cultures. So, the first one we're going to start off with is the ancient Assyrian myth. Our journey begins around 1000 BCE in ancient Assyria, where the story of Autagardis unfolds. Autagardis, a goddess of fertility and water, fell in love with a human but tragically caused his death. Consumed by shame, she transformed herself into a mermaid with a human upper body and a fish tail, blending the divine and the aquatic. Her legend reflects both the power of remorse and humanity's enduring connection to the sea. Atargatis is one of the earliest examples of mermaid lore. Her story set the foundation for centuries of aquatic myths. So let's do a deep dive on the ancient Assyrian myth.
And half-fish creature mythologies have been a part of human culture for thousands of years. The origin of mermaid mythology can be traced back to ancient Assyria, where there was a goddess who was depicted as a fish-tailed woman. However, mermaid legends have also been found in folklore of other cultures across the world. In Greek mythology, the sirens were a sea nymph who lured sailors to their death with their enchanting singing. They were often depicted as half bird, half women creatures, but sometimes depictions showed them as women with fish tails.
So, first and foremost, I'm going to say I would never be so desperate to go jumping in the water with some half-ass naked woman with a fishtail. I don't give a how many months it's been, how many years it's been. I am not jumping in that water with you. Facts.
The Greek god Triton was also often depicted as a...
By the way, like and subscribe and share because we need to grow this channel. We got different things popping off on this channel. We got merch. Hit me up.
merman with the upper body of a man and the lower body of a fish. In Norse mythology, there was a mermaid-like creature who was believed to live in the waters near Iceland. These creatures were said to be able to predict the future and were often consulted by sailors before embarking on long voyages. In Japanese folklore, a mermaid-like creature was believed to bring good luck and was often sought after by fishermen. However, if you captured this creature, that was said to bring bad luck and misfortune.
So what? You instead of capturing it, well, you're supposed to high five it, you're supposed to hug it, you're supposed to feed it, you're supposed to kiss it, and you turn into a prince. Sounds kind of fishy to me.
West African folklore, there was a mermaid-like creature who was believed to be a powerful spirit who could grant wealth and success to those who worshipped her. She was often depicted as a beautiful woman with the tail of a fish. Overall, mermaid mythology has been a part of human culture.
Hold on.
As a beautiful, depicted as a, she was often depicted as those who a powerful spirit who could grant wealth and success to those who worshipped bad luck, and that was said to bring bad luck and misfortune. In West African folklore, there was a mermaid-like creature who was believed to be a powerful spirit who could grant wealth and success to those who worshipped her. She was often depicted as a beautiful woman with the tail of a fish. Overall, mermaid mythology has been a part of human culture for thousands of years, and it has been interpreted in many different ways across different cultures. Mermaid or half-human, half-fish creature mythologies have been a part of human culture.
So there you have it. Before we get to the actual myth we were speaking of before, we just kind of laid out different cultures, different civilizations that have mermaids folklore in it. So now let's get to the Assyrian myth.
Mythical Monday, mermaids. The oldest story of mermaids came from 1000 BC in Assyria. Atargatis, an Assyrian priestess, jumped into the sea to wash away the shame of an unwanted pregnancy and emerged as a fishtail goddess. In the 1st century CE, Pliny wrote convincingly of the existence of mermaids, but described them as rough and scaled all over. It wasn't until 5th century CE that the bestiary physiologist described mermaids as fair maidens from the navel up and fish from the waist down. Mermen
like fish from the waist down. If you know, you know.
are also mentioned, but they are much rarer than their feminine counterparts. Tales of mermaids are commonly told by seamen. Even Christopher Columbus claimed he saw 3 during his maiden voyage in 1493. Commonly, sailors would speak of the mermaid's powers of seduction. The scaled maidens would...
Well, I guess if you're at sea for years at a time anything's finna look good if you're surrounded by men.
Sing to the lonely sailors in order to lure them into the water, then would drag them into their watery graves. They were also believed to cause storms and shipwrecks. The debate of mermaids' existence is still ongoing, as is what these creatures actually look like. What do we think?
So before we move on to the next set of videos, I think it's fair that we use our handy dandy search machine and we ask, you know what, scratch that. We're gonna ask our friend Copilot about a little more story on the first myth. Can I get a little more on number one?
Lake to become a fish, but the waters couldn't mask her divine beauty entirely, so she emerged as the first mermaid, half woman, half fish.
Can I get a little more in depth on that, Copilot, one more time?
Certainly. Let's deep dive into Atargatis' tale. She was a powerful Assyrian goddess who fell in love with a mortal shepherd. After accidentally causing his death, she was consumed by grief and shame. In an attempt to transform herself into a fish to hide sorrow, the waters only allowed half of her transformation, leaving her upper body human and her lower half as a fish. This myth not only explains the origin of mermaids, but also serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of divine human loves.
So there you guys have it. The first one, the Assyrian myth. I like the story, but do I give it a round of applause? I mean, as an evidence-based show, I can't really give it a round of applause. But the story definitely is cool. Let's go to number 2. The Greek and Roman inspirations. Now, in Greek mythology, we encounter the sirens, the dangerous sea nymphs who lured sailors to their doom with their hypnotic voices. Originally depicted with bird-like features, their image transformed over time to half-human, half-fish beings. We recognize them today. Meanwhile, in Roman mythology, Triton, the fish-tailed son of Poseidon, Poseidon, the king of the sea, if y'all don't know, represents another early concept of male form. These ancient stories blur the lines between divine guardians of the seas and the alluring dangers of the unknown, embedding the mermaids in the rich tapestry of the Mediterranean culture. So let's do some deep dives on the videos for that, okay? So
You guys, I just solved a mystery. One of the biggest mysteries of the world. What is a mermaid? A mermaid's a siren, right? Well, what is a siren? Many speculate that mermaids and sirens are demons, right? They're not using Snarflat singing part of your world, I'll tell you that much. They lure fishermen by their song into the water and take them from there.
I
Never to
wonder,
be seen again.
that song must be a banger. Banger.
Many have speculated that mermaids / sirens are demons. Just figured it out. Oh my God, I just figured it out. And you're never going to believe this. You will not. Oh, I'm having a problem believing it myself. Ha ha! You want to know what a siren is? Because I know now. When the Watchers came down, the 200 angels to watch over mankind, they sinned horribly against God by falling in love and becoming.
By the way, we're going to deep dive into this a little bit later with the whole fallen angel stuff, okay?
Infatuated and enamored by women's beauty, mortal women. They took mortal women as wives and laid with them, creating an unholy offspring of giants, the Nephilim. The Book of Enoch explains this all in detail. These are the 4 fallen angels that are bound under the Euphrates River, who are set one day, if not already, to be released with the 6th trumpet to kill 1/3 of mankind. They have been under the Euphrates River being punished for laying with mortal women and having this offspring of Nephilim.
And that is why you don't go against God.
Nephilim is a reason for the Genesis flood. There's a lot here. But why hasn't anybody ever asked, what happened to the women that laid with the angels? Shouldn't they be punished as well? It seems they were. It seems they are. It seems they have been. Oh, I'm shook. And I'm about to shake you. Book of Enoch, chapter 19. Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as God. Here shall they stand, till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged, till they are made an end of. Now listen up, Buttercup, because this is where shit gets. And the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens. Yeah, you heard that.
Bam.
Where did it go? Oh, sorry. I'm looking for the mic I just dropped. Guys, the women who laid with the fallen angels and had babies, the Nephilim, the mortal women who committed that sin by having with angels and having babies and marrying them, oh, they got punished, all right. They are sirens, and sirens are mermaids. Oh, my mind's blown.
We kind of went a little off topic because we were going to explore the whole Greek mythology aspect of it. Later on, we're going to dig deeper into that situation. But let's see if we can find one more video on the Greek mythology aspect of it.
Somebody told me a story about a company that catches really big fish, but they're not fish, okay? If you haven't seen my first Mermaid and Sirens video that I made the other day, it's...
I'll pull this down a little bit. Let's end with this one.
The history of sirens. In Greek mythology, the sirens are the daughters of Achelous, the river god. These are their names. The sirens were the companions of the goddess Persephone, who was abducted by Hades. The goddess Demeter then gives the sirens wings to search for Persephone. In other versions of the myth, Demeter curses and punishes the sirens by giving them wings. The sirens are depicted as birds with the head of women. They have beautiful singing voices that would entice sailors to their destruction. The myth of the sirens spread across Europe Roman Empire, Spain, France, Italy, Poland and England, where people started viewing them to being aquatic creatures, confusing them with mermaids.
The moment we hear about mermaids and sirens in Saskatchewan, I'm bouncing.
Their popularity in the Western world impacted many myths. The Latin name Sirenia describes them as being fully aquatic like mermaids. Sirens were also absorbed into Abrahamic religion. In the book of Enoch it says, "And the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens." Long story short, angels mated with women and taught them magic. God punishes women by turning them into sirens.
Again, going into that big leaning on the word, that fallen angels myth.
Hey, Rylan.
Co-pilot, can we do another deep dive on segment number 2? Can you give us a little more info, please?
Absolutely. Let's explore the Greek sirens further. In Greek mythology, sirens were originally depicted as bird women creatures, but over time they evolved into the mermaid-like figures we know today. They were famous for their hypnotic voices and songs that lured sailors to their doom. The sirens embodied the dangers of ocean, representing...
Keep going, sorry.
Alright, these sirens were initially depicted as bird women creatures. They lured sailors with their enchanting voices, causing ships to crash onto rocky shores. Over time, as mermaid legends evolved, they became more aquatic, merging the siren's alluring voice with the fish-tailed imagery we associate with mermaids today. Fascinating, right?
Fascinating. Thank you, co-pilot. All right, so there you have it for the Greek mythology part of that. I mean, that one I'm going to give a little bit of a round of applause to you. I love Greek mythology, so. Okay, number 3, the oceanic connections. Turning eastward, mermaid-like figures also appear in Chinese and Japanese and Polynesian mythologies. In Japan, the Nanago, a fish-like creature with human features, both revered and feared. Catching a nago was said to bring either blessings or a terrible curse. Trying these creatures to the themes of fortune and misfortune. These tales reflect humanity's deep respect and fear of the ocean, interpreting its vast mysteries through myth, Polynesian stories also include beings like the water spirits, showcasing how sea-faring creatures infuse their love with the wonders of the oceans. So let's explore our East Coast friends. Again, this is TikTok Deep Dives. Before we hit this next video, let's look at a video that they show a mermaid in real life. Let's see if we can give it a round of applause and call it cap.
This video circulating online believed that what Chinese fishermen found in its seashore is a mermaid. In our modern world today, are mermaids really real? If we look in our past, the earliest mermaid legends appeared in Syria around 1000 BC when the goddess Atargatis dove into a lake to take the form of a fish. Unfortunately, until today, there's no evidence of aquatic humanoids has ever found.
That looks fake. I ain't gonna lie. No round of applause for that.
Let's talk about these mermaids in Japan, and they're called a ningyo. And Japanese records over the centuries includes various sightings and stories connected to them. Now let's talk about it. Now the name ningyo means fish human, and as it states in the name, it's a creature with both human and fish-like creatures. And the name is also translated as mermaid, even though it's not gender specific, so it can mean merman as well. And when I tell y'all these creatures are nothing to play with, y'all, for centuries, fishermen and sailors have seen these creatures. And it is said if you catch one of these mermaids, it brings on a very bad omen. And they can cause storms, shipwrecks, death and misfortune, and just all kinds of natural disasters that can wipe out towns and just crazy stuff. And eating them is even worse. It is said that if you eat the flesh of a niño, you will be granted with immortality. There's been cases where there was a nun that people believe lived up to 800 to 1,000 years old. I believe her father came across some niño meat and made a mistake and gave it to the daughter, and the daughter ate it, and she basically, like, her age process slowed down. She was extremely beautiful. She was granted with beautiful youth, but also internal sorrow. Everyone she knows in love, passed away, and she was just here forever and ever, just miserable. All because she ate some good old mermaid flesh. This is an earlier depiction of more so what these creatures look like. You know, as the tale grew popular and popular over the centuries, they made it look more like mermaid-like, but they really was more fish and just human head. So, like, y'all can see how, like, a fisherman, like, if they're fishing in the deep sea, they would probably think this is a fish until they look at it, and then they look at it and they drop them right on back. Like, these fishermen, when they seen them, they threw them right back in the water because, like I said, everybody knew that.
Okay, but, like, technically you still caught the mermaid, right? I mean,
they brung a bad omen. But I just find it so fascinating how in folklore and mythology in every country, there's always similar creatures that have the same similarities. And I have a surprise for y'all. I'm going to make a whole series with different mermaids and tales all over the globe because I normally talk about the ones just in the Caribbean and African areas. So now we're going to be talking about mermaids global. Okay. So stay tuned. And let me know what y'all.
So, what y'all think? Before we move on to the next segment, let's ask our good friend Co-Pilot one more time.
So,
Co-Pilot,
Island, what's catching your interest these days?
Let me get more in a deep dive on segment number 3.
Let's dive into Little Mermaid. Hans Christian Andersen's tale is about a young mermaid who sacrifices her voice to gain human legs out of love for a prince. It's a bittersweet story of love, sacrifice, and longing, exploring the struggles between...
Can you explore the Japanese or the Asian myths of mermaids more, please?
Sure. In Japanese folklore, there's the ningyo, a creature often described as a mix between a fish and a human, but not quite like the mermaids of Western tales. Eating the flesh of a ningyo was believed to grant immortality, but catching one was considered a bad omen, leading to storms or misfortune. Pretty intriguing, right?
Very intriguing. Thank you. So there you guys have it on segment 3. So segment 4, the one that you guys have all been waiting for, well, the one that I certainly believe the most, being a Christian, right? So let's go to our... All right, so this is our one we've been looking for, the mermaids and the fallen angels. Another fascinating interpretation ties mermaids to fallen angels from Judeo-Christian traditions. According to the apocryphal texts in the Book of Enoch, fallen angels have descended to earth, intermingling with humans and potentially creating hybrid beings. Over time, myth about these celestial beings evolved, incorporating aquatic features to explain mermaids. This perspective ties the mermaid lore to supernatural, highlighting themes of sin, forbidden love, and redemption, infusing the mystical with a touch of divine. So let's do a deep dive, a few videos on that. Okay. I got my hands in my pocket. All right, let's go. Let's refresh that. For some reason, she's going a little slow.
Saw an actual mermaid?
That's what it was. It was a swimming person. Me and this little French boy, and they said don't swim in the lagoon after dark. Everybody was up at the bar, and so me and him go down. Me and him get in the water. From a distance, you see something coming like a fucking missile, but it's going fast. We both kind of stop, and then it turns and it jumps out of the water, and it's maybe at least 10, 12 feet long, man. The water was only about this deep. Didn't make a splash or nothing, and it wasn't like a mermaid. Didn't look feminine at all.
Like a man.
A fucking man.
Really?
A fucking dude who said, "Get the fuck out the pool." Yeah, the back of him was fish. The back of him was fish. His head was humanoid. Eyes about so big. Then, if you Google it, the lagoons of Seychelles. Okay. And I ain't the first person to see some shit.
Really?
In the waters.
Saw an actual mermaid?
That's what it was. It was
mermaids, marine demons. Now, just a heads up, I'm not saying that this right by me is a real...
What became of the fallen angels' wives after they were given access to these divinely revealed secrets is a mystery in and of itself. They would become the mothers of whole magic-defiled generations after that. As you can see, these women were the first witches in recorded history, yet because of this, they received an incredibly strange penalty. Additionally, the Book of Enoch states that the wives of the fallen angels would have become sirens. This is purportedly the source of the mermaid mythology, but there's a small catch. The siren myth originated in ancient Greece, and the earliest known
So we keep getting a
documents
lot of
date back
history
to
about everything
approximately
in total.
300 BC. Hence, the
I
mermaids
believe I
are
could
not
step in
sirens.
on what I know
According to
about the
the ancient
fallen angels. So like you said, when Satan or Lucifer fell, angels fell with him. They intermingled with the human species, where we get centaurs, half humans, half animals, type stuff like that. This one's a really, really interesting one for y'all to look in. So do your own research. This is for entertainment purposes only, of course. But again, so it says that the fallen angels were trapped in captivity, and all the wives that they intermingled with became mermaids or sirens. right? So we're gonna do one more thing, and we're gonna ask Copilot to go in depth on this, and that's another episode done.
Hey, Rylan, you're back. What's on your mind today?
Could you please go into more depth about the fallen angels and the mermaid story for our viewers? Copilot.
What else can I dive into for you?
The story of the mermaids and the fallen angels. Deep dive. Okay, we're having technical difficulties with Copilot today. But we'll watch one more video, and that will be another episode. We deep dived on mermaids for everybody.
Dark things that happen when angels at night fallen nose cats.
Mermaids, marine demons. Now, just a heads up, I'm not saying that this right by me is a real marine demon or real mermaid. However, you have many. You have Oshun, you have Mami Wata. From the Bible, you have Leviathan, which is called the sea dragon, sea serpent. You also have Dagon, which is mentioned in Samuel, the Philistine false god. It's believed in Jewish history that the women mated with fallen angels were punished as such. We know throughout different stories that there have been historical concepts of sirens, and I've seen spirits as such. You see, the marine kingdom is very real, and it's nothing to be playing with. So if you're associated with any spirits in the marine kingdom, renounce.
Well, do your own research. TikTok deep dives. Have a good day. I'm your host, Seek the Truth.